The family Chantel star Pedro Jimeno is gorgeous, smart, and possibly ruthless. That's why a lot of people who watched his marriage with Chantel Everett implode on screen think that he pretended to love Chantel Everett for financial gain. While gigolo is a strong word, many people do believe that Pedro's a user and green card hunter. Merriam-Webster defines a gigolo as, while Pedro did have a job when he was in America with Chantel, he worked in a warehouse, he may have been biding his time. Like a snake about to strike, he could have been waiting for Chantel to get her nursing degree so he could get on the gravy train. Or maybe his manipulations went one step further. It's possible that he always planned to leave her. He probably knew that he could leverage his reality TV fame into cold, hard cash. In the USA, celebrity is another form of currency. So technically, Pedro wasn't living off Chantel's money, or was he? She comes from a family that's reportedly wealthy. Her parents Thomas and the family Chantel's Karen Everett have discussed her inheritance. Maybe she did contribute more than him. Karen accused Pedro of. This was harsh criticism, but in light of how things unfolded, it's not impossible that Pedro was doing just that. Chantel's family is very comfortable, or she wouldn't have an inheritance. Chantel seemed like someone who was raised like a princess. When a Prince Charming from the Dominican Republic entered the fray, she thought it was a fairy tale. Prince Charming turned into a monster, and his superpower was coldness that really stung. Chantel was positively frostbitten by her possibly greedy husband-turned-ex. She ended up paying Pedro in their divorce, which speaks volumes. When it came to Pedro, maybe Chantel was blinded by his good looks. Perhaps she's attracted to pretty boys. There's always the chance that she didn't look under the surface. Pedro looked like an ideal love interest at first, but there were always red flags. Pedro surely understands that he's an attractive man. It's possible that women throw themselves at him. Corema Morla, Nicole Jimeno's best friend, did exactly that. In the Instagram post above, Pedro shows off his handsomeness in a close-up. Did he use his looks to get what he wanted from Chantel? Probably, but she's no slouch in the looks department either. Chantel is a beautiful woman. Nonetheless, in Pedro's world, there are a lot of beautiful women who might be interested in him. There's a reason why fans are still interested in Pedro, even though the show's over. Is it his appearance? That's not impossible at all. He fits the dream man archetype in many ways, but he let viewers down. He was supposed to be Chantel's true love. In the comments on his Instagram post, he's been called out for disappointing the fan base. Viewers who watch their messy divorce play out on screen are very slow to forgive him. He's the man who made Chantel sob on screen. He didn't want couples counseling, he just wanted out. When he talked about his goals in the post above, someone blasted him, clearly believing Pedro's a gigolo or close to it. They said, Chantel's family wasn't easy to deal with, but Pedro didn't hesitate to go for the jugular. In the clip above, a family dinner at the Everetts went dangerously awry. Tempers flared and Pedro and River Everett got into a physical fight. The dinner party from hell was painfully awkward from the very first minute. All the simmering resentment seeped out, poisoning the atmosphere. The brawl was a high-drama moment, but that wasn't good enough for Pedro. If he wasn't out for money, would he really go this far? Maybe he knew he wouldn't be staying in that relationship forever. Bear in mind that Chantel's family didn't always treat him well. He had some valid reasons for storing up rage. His anger had to be released somehow. However, if he really loved Chantel, he probably would have reined it in for her sake. Chantel was totally heartbroken after almost 5 years of marriage with Pedro. She tried to move on during a 90-day, the single life stint. However, it was just too much too soon. Part of her probably still longed for the man she'd lost. Chantel was quite romantic with Pedro, and she had to come to terms with the divorce even though it was the last thing she wanted. She was emotionally traumatized by his decision to leave and the messy aftermath. Pedro's wandering eye may have brought the marriage down. The whole "men are from Mars, women are from Venus" thing may be nothing more than pseudopsychology. However, there could be a grain of truth. Many women want to mate for life, not all of them, but a lot of them. Meanwhile, men are known for wanting to spread their seed. Some biological imperatives may drive the behavior of men. Their primitive urges are designed to keep the species thriving. However, men do not get a pass for their wandering highs. Women don't like it. Chantel didn't like it one little bit. If he'd really loved her, would he have done that sexy dance with Karema, which ended up being recorded and shared with his horrified bride, Chantel? Probably not, but maybe. Men aren't always totally straightforward. They may love partners but flirt with others. Men aren't Disney princes. They are just as complex as women. The hardened cheaters compartmentalize. When they're with their main partners, they're nice enough. When they aren't, they may stray and find ways to rationalize that. However, Pedro may have flirted and worse because he just didn't love Chantel. That's what she now believes, and she spent years with this man. Her opinions have value even though she's bitter. Pedro hasn't advertised a new relationship on Instagram, but he's so into self-promotion. He's advertising his career. His ads, which entice followers to hire him as their realtor, are cute and lighthearted. He's basically doing comedy skits to get their attention. Since he's joking around, it makes him seem even more insensitive. Everyone knows Chantel's probably still hurting, and Pedro's acting like his life is an endless laugh riot. Of course, this strengthens the Gigolo theory. What weakens the theory is that Pedro actually works. In fact, he seems extremely ambitious. While fans think they know Pedro and assume the worst about him, it can't be denied that the man is out there trying to sell houses. He is not latching onto another rich girl or whatever, at least not openly, so there are layers of complication. After the split, Chantel reposted a divorce coach's advice about spending some time figuring out which aspects of the marriage were genuine and which were not. She was clearly trying to tell the truth from the lies. Because she's so confused by her split and how things unraveled, it's possible that Pedro was playing a part the whole time. While it seems like a lot of effort to fake love for years, he may have envisioned an end game of sorts, where he would get his green card and then vacate the relationship. That would be frightfully chilly behavior, and, in fact, Pedro did act icy cold while ending things with Chantel. However, that might have been a defense mechanism. It's easier to free someone out than deal with their pain. So, while Pedro does fit the Gigolo role in some ways, only he knows what was real or fake. It's not impossible that he loved Chantel at one point, but what if he didn't? That would mean that he's an extraordinarily deceptive human being. Pedro isn't talking about his love life online, but then again, if he did, he'd get ripped apart. It's unlikely that he's not seeing anyone. It's possible, but he's probably dating one or more women. The fact that he left Chantel heartbroken means that he's likely to crush more women emotionally in the future. Sure, he could find true love, but maybe the odds of him loving them and leaving them are higher. Someone's past can be an indicator of how they'll act in the future. Pedro may break hearts forever. Pedro rocked a gray suit on Instagram, showing off an impressively toned physique. He gained weight when he arrived in America, overindulging in American cuisine. However, he started a fitness transformation that led to dramatic weight loss. As he slimmed down, he gained lean muscle mass. Muay Thai, Thai boxing. Workouts helped him to get the look that he has now. In the post above, he's dressing up and reveling in the dream. Maybe the American dream meant more than Chantel. Maybe that was what he always wanted. It's not wrong to want the American dream. Immigrants have added so much to society, and Pedro may be doing the very same. Everyone in the USA, including immigrants, deserves their shot at the brass ring. The issue is who Pedro might have stepped over to achieve his goal. The family Chantel star could be happy now, but Chantel probably still cries sometimes. She really loved Pedro.